Good, so this is the English version of the informational video about the intensives that are happening in 2018 between January and September, October till December. I will announce at a later point. I will give a short explanation about the intensives here. If I talk too long about each individual date, then the video will be just too long, so I will keep it very short. So in January we start with the winter camp, and there will be a similar thing happening in June, the Hamburg summer camp. This is the only two intensives or workshops in the year that I will teach only in German, so I will not provide further information in this video about this, because, as I said, it's not in English, but all the other workshops and intensives will be also taught in English. So the first one happening that is taught in English in the next year, in 2018, will be the 30-day intensive month. And this month in January is full immersive training for 30 days. Training is 6 days a week, so you come and for 30 days you will have a lot of learning, training, information shared, etc. I wrote also some explanation about it on my website already. Similar thing is happening in July, because in July also many people are willing to travel and to open themselves for new things. So if you want the full package, I propose that you come to the 30-day intensive month. And also in January is happening our 2-day basic intensive, which is a good entry into the way that we work and teach and learn, where we provide a very methodic entry point into the training, which a lot of video material, a lot of basic training plans that you can follow, so several training plans that you can follow, divided into a few different categories that we work on in the intensive, and that provides you with something like 3 to 4 months of material to work on. If you need longer than this to work through the material, you're a bit slow, because I set it up in a way that for 3 to 4 months you work on this stuff, and then you come and we do the next step, because I don't want you to be stuck in doing the same thing. It's very like progressive work that is going forward. Yeah, so 3 to 4 months you work with the material, you learn in this intensive, and you can work with it very structured, because we provide you with a structure how to work with it, and then you come for the next step. I advise this intensive for everyone that has no prior experience with the way we work or similar way, which is most people. Yeah, even if you are someone that works, I don't know, in a fitness system, that works with a fitness system like CrossFit or something, this is very far from the way that we do things. So even if you think you are very fit, I would advise you and propose to you to come to this intensive. You can also write me a mail and ask, maybe I did this and this, is it still applicable for me to come to this intensive? But most likely I will say yes. Okay, then in February we have the 2-day workshop, the change of state, and this workshop is about an idea or an observation, that is that there are several states that we can observe in ourselves, physically or mentally, but also in things like water, as can be ice or liquid or gas. Yeah, and we look into our different states, like the physical states or the physical expressions also. Things like I can stand, I can walk, I can sit, blah blah blah. And these are their very different states. It feels very differently. And then we work on how to change in between states, and the observation is that older people struggle a lot with changing in between states. So they struggle with going from standing to sitting, or from sitting to standing, for example, but also they struggle to change their opinion. So we will work and look into changing our states, and observing changes of states. Yeah? It means it's a bit different work than some other intensives. Than, for example, the basic intensive is very different work to the change of state workshop. That's why I also call it a workshop, because it has this idea, this observation of the change of state that we will work on. It's an idea I work on, or I'm interested in for some time now, and it just came all of a sudden. It came. I was standing around, and then poof, like the idea dropped onto me, and from that point I started to do stuff with it. Okay, then in February we also have the 3-day intensive with the topic of bouldering and floorwork. So we will look into bouldering, which is climbing without a rope in a height that you can jump down. And we will look into different ways of approaching bouldering. And I propose also a way that is a bit different from how most people approach it, which is a way that I showed a bit in the video that is called 1 Hour 1 Route on YouTube. So the idea is that you can spend a lot of time with the same place, on the same route, and you don't have to change routes all the time, which is very different from how most people work in the bouldering gym or outside. Is that if they finish a route, they go somewhere else, or if they struggle to do a route, they also go somewhere else. So only the more experienced people are working for a longer time on the same problem. So what I want to share is a different approach to bouldering than most people, and also what I will share there is how do I like technical work, how do I work technical, what are positions that help me understand how to climb. Also very kind of like methodical approach in a way that it's different also from how people usually teach the climbing, which is not very like broken down, but kind of just climb. Yeah, and I will teach it more in a step-by-step approach. And the third big segment of the workshop will be additional work. For example, work on the scapular strength, because my observation is if you have the ability to stabilize in the scapula, it gives you a big advantage on the wall. Yeah, if two people have the same technical proficiency but one has more strength, he's probably more likely to finish the problem than the other one. Okay, and the second part of the workshop is the intensive is the floor work, where we deal with being very low to the floor, very soft approach, or a bit more the full harder approach on the hands and the feet, and how to transition between these two approaches, how to go up and down from the floor, into the floor, out of the floor, flowing, how to put movements together, showing all sorts of different movements and variations, how to work creatively on the floor, etc., etc. Lots of fun. Okay, then in March we have the advanced basics. So after the basic intensive, I offer the advanced basics, where we take the next step in the work. We will dive deeper into the topic of the basic intensive and also add new topics. So this is the methodical next step after the basic intensive. Doesn't mean that everyone has to do first basic intensive, then advanced basic intensive, and then come to the other intensives, but it also makes a lot of sense to do it in that way. Then we have another basic intensive in March, and then we have a 4-day open intensive. And in the open intensives, I always look what is the time of the year and who are the people that are coming. So every open intensive is very different, and I choose the topics according to what's happening, like who's there, what's the time of the year. So sometimes it's more advanced people, sometimes it's mixed group, sometimes it's more beginner people, blah 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 blah. If you are very, very beginner, I advise more the basic intensive, but the open intensive is generally open for everyone. Okay, in April then we have the 4-day intensive Workingman staff, and for this I advise to read my article about a Workingman staff week, and also watch the video Der Abend, which gives a bit of hint what the Workingman staff intensive is about. Basically, it's not about any technical stuff, it's about working, capacity, doing, not stopping, blah blah blah. Very intense, but also giving a lot of power, a lot of strength, also mentally to you. Very cool, I like it. I'm looking very forward to this intensive. It will be a lot of fun. For me, it's always a lot of fun to do this stuff because you feel very alive, although it's difficult and intense and blah 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 blah. So, and in May we have another advanced basic intensive, and then we have an open intensive in Cologne, which is a 2-day intensive. As I said, I look who's coming, I look what's the weather, etc. And then we do stuff for 2 days in Cologne. Looking forward to be in Cologne and do some stuff there. Then in June we have the Hamburg summer camp. I already said this is only in German. And in July we have another basic intensive. We have the full month, the month intensive that I also explained already. And then we have the 3-day intensive partner work and games, where we look into partner games. On the one hand, how do I work with one partner or with several people, or in a big group, games for big groups, and then doing different kind of partner work, like against each other, with each other, close to each other, more far, with contact, without contact, blah blah blah, from the martial arts world, from the dance world, tritra trolala, and look into all sorts of ways how to work with a partner, and looking into how do we play well. This is an important part of the puzzle here. How do we play well? And another part of the workshop will be partner work, which is how do we strengthen each other together. How do we how can we do softening work or treatment work, helping the other person to get more healthy, and so on and so forth. Good. And then in August, the 6-day workshop the animal layer is happening, the mysterious workshop that is happening in 2018 for the 4th time. This workshop, you need to come without any expectations, you need to be very open. I need to have met you before, it's only for people that I know already. It's very intense and goes quite deep also. Like, it's different from many things that you see on the internet, I would say. Like, it's not just movement work or something, it goes in lots of different fields and categories, and it's about a very basic experience that I call the animal layer. So if you want to come, be open, be ready to do stuff, and I need to know you before. It's limited spots, people are already starting to sign up now in December that I make this video. Okay, so don't be too late if you want to attend. Then we have the animal layer continuous, which is only for people that have already attended an animal layer, so I don't need to say more about it because the people that have been there know how it works. That I don't say what's happening anyway. September there is another basic intensive, and then we have a 6-day workshop which is called dance, locomotion, fighting and creating. And this workshop is about diving into these different aspects of movement. So it is not about doing meta exercises like strength or mobility or something. No, here we dive really into the applications, yeah, into how do I move through the environment, locomotion, approaching dance, fighting. We will look into BJJ, that Simon Pooley, one of my students, but is also my teacher who's teaching me BJJ. He will do the BJJ part, and then working with the hands, making something which is such a basic human experience. So this workshop I will not do alone. I will do with different people that are specialized in their fields, and then it will come together. I'm really looking forward to this workshop because it's really the application of all of this. It's not exercisey, it's doing, it's moving, it's creating, and it's the real thing, basically. Good, okay, so that's the overview from January until September. If you want to attend, you need to sign up, and goodbye.